This morning I've been busy trimming back a whole bunch of the trees and shrubbery that surround the new woodyard area. Because I gotta start thinking about this huge massive shelter that I'm gonna build over the sawmill. I got an order in from a hardware store for a bunch of concrete bags, sonotubes, some rebar, things like that I need to get the concrete piers completed. It's going to be fun, so stick around for a little bit. We'll get milling some of these logs that I have here because I'm still working on getting up enough posts and columns and beams, so stay tuned and let's have some fun on the mill. I had a bunch of these smallish type logs that I'd been saving for who knows what, but I figure I should be able to turn this into some kind of lumber rather than wasting it. But I have these big bad boys, and I got 1, 2, 3 decent sized ones, and then 3 not so decent sized, but they're long. But I may be able to turn it into like some 2x4s or maybe a 4x4. This is it though. After this is done, which is only going to take me maybe a couple more days, I'm going to have to go to the forest to get me some logs. But I have been working on getting some posts, and the bottom one there's a beam. That's a 16-foot beam, so I'm well on my way. I've started marking them so that I can easier keep track, because I seriously have to start designing my sawmill shelter here. It's going to be a massive thing, and winter's coming up real fast. So I've already put a couple of stakes. I got a stake over there. The distance between that stake and this stake is 24 feet. And then I got that stake and that stake, which is basically the width. And I'm just trying to follow the width of my workshop because I'm going to try to keep the roof pitch the same, and the same as down there. That's all on an angle, as you can see. So right here where this wood is drying, it's going to be all on an angle down here, and I'm going to try to figure that out. But I obviously don't want a bunch of columns in here, so I need like one 16-foot beam, which I already have. And on the front, I'm going to go with a 24-foot beam, which I don't have. So that'll be in an upcoming video where I go out into the woods and try to source a perfectly straight tree that is also big and round, because I need that beam to be maybe 6x12 or maybe 8x12. Gonna be fun though. This is an HM136 Max from Woodland Mills. It's made right here in Ontario, Canada. Let's see what we can come up with these 5 or 6 small type logs before we start into some of the big bad boys. Before we start into one of those big bad boy logs. It's been a couple years now where I cut these trees and stationed these logs. I've moved them around a couple times since then because they're so long they get in the way. But I'm just trying to use up what I have now that I have my mill. And there's only 4 or 5 decent sized logs here. And that's just going to help me get some beams and some posts. So let's just get the John Deere 3039R in gear and get one of these long beasts on the mill and see what we can make out of it. See, right away I thought I could make, it's 13 feet, I thought I could make a 12 footer. But this is how I cut the tree. There's that little, what do you call that? The hinge. But then also there's this angled part. So really the cut's gonna have to be from here. In addition to that, this is a good size. Like, look at my hand. I'll be able to get like an 8x8 out of this. But the challenge is, if you look down at the end, you see how it's like curved. So honestly, I think I'm gonna have to cut it here. I've already started, and then I said I better let you guys know what's going on. So it'll be from here. One of the things about this whole little space that I'm trying to plan out the best as possible is this. It's a wood yard, not just a sawmill shed, but that's my log splitter in there. I have a bunch of firewood ready to go. We have a whole boatload of firewood space up in the front of the house, and I can just bring literally whatever it is I'm cutting. Like, for example, I just cut this log down, and because part of the log is bent so I can't use it, but I can use the rest for firewood, so I just chop it up into 16-inch pieces and I'll bring it over to where my splitter is. Since we cut that end off, this is 10.5, so at least we'll be able to get a 10-foot beam out of this. I think it's big enough that I can get at least an 8x6 beam. The thing is, according to my notes here, I don't need a 10-foot beam. I need a 14-foot beam, and I need 2 16-foot beams, and I need a 24-foot beam, and then a couple of short beams, 6 feet, and then a 15-foot beam. So this doesn't match any of those. So I think what I'll turn this into is a 6x6 by 9 feet. Since I have 10.5 feet here, I'll be able to turn it into a 6x6 by 9. And maybe because of the dimension of the log, I'll be able to get some dimensional lumber off it too. You know, like maybe a rafter or something, because it is 10 feet. I need 4 of those 6x6 by 9. 6x6 by 9 is for this middle post. 6x6 by 6 is for the end, and 6x6 by 11 is for the front. Don't forget, I'm just trying to match it up with the height of that. I want it probably to be just a touch lower. So if this is going to be a 12-inch beam on the front, then I need to make this like 11 feet. It's not too bad, I guess. I got some cutoffs that I'll be able to use as stickers to stick in between the drying pieces. I got myself one true 2x4. This is 10 feet long, by the way. I was able to get one true 2x8 out of it. It's not too shabby, I guess. And of course I was able to get the 6x6 and this one board that I just cut. This is a true 2x8, and I guess I can use this as a rafter. Gotta just make the best of what I can get out of these logs. I don't think it's too bad. 6x6 and a few pieces of dimensional lumber and a couple stickers, that's okay. We got rid of all those small logs that I had, so I have a bunch of 4x4s. They're only 5, 6, 7 feet, but that's okay. I'll be able to use it for something for sure. Keep on watching these sawmill videos because I'm working hard trying to get as much lumber as I need to build this structure before winter comes. And I think I'll be able to get the main part of the structure. I'm not so sure about the rafters. Some of the rafters are pretty long, like 14 feet. So I don't know. But stick with me. I'm going to get as much as I can milled throughout the next few months and get to building this thing. Actually, I just got my Home Depot delivery, so I have a bunch of cement here and some sonotubes, so I'm going to get started whenever our humidity dips. I don't want to work in the heat, but whenever we get the humidity going down a little bit, I'm going to start drilling holes here and start getting the concrete piers put in and figure out the overall design of this shelter over the sawmill.